What's up, YouTube family? T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight to continue our lake breakdown series for Ray Roberts. I think you guys are really going to like this one. Let's go ahead and zoom in here, take a look at it. This one's got tons of different points for us, lots of things for us to explore. We're going to keep breaking it down tonight. Last time we actually finished right here where it says rock. So tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way back around the north side and then back down to the dam. I don't know if I can finish it all in one video, but we're going to give it a whirl. If not, we may have one more video on the Google Earth hotspots for Ray Roberts. And then we're going to switch over and talk about the Navionics side. I know I got some good stuff out here for you guys. I'm going to put you on some bass. Just stick around, see what kind of information I have for you. Here we go. Let's go ahead and jump into this thing. If you missed the lake breakdown videos before, maybe this is the first time you're ever watching one of my lake breakdown videos, first thing we focus on really is Google Earth. So on the Google Earth side, what I do is I categorize everything over here on the left side underneath different things. So say, for example, you just wanted to come out and fish the offshore spots, you could just click the offshore spots, and you can see here we have all the different offshore hotspots that are listed there. We also have a lot of brush piles that were marked up there. I think there were like 23 different offshore brush piles that were out there on the internet that I found coordinates for. So I went ahead and put those in here as well. You've got channels, creek channels that are marked here. You can see those in the green lines. Pond dams that are out there as well. I don't know if I have any out there. There's a couple of there that you see just showing up. And then also we got tons of rock formations and things like that to fish around, debris and cover. And then, of course, boat ramps. You guys have heard me talk a lot about boat ramp patterns. That is a very good pattern to run. So let's go ahead and jump into this one tonight. I'm going to move this square back over so we can see a little bit better. And what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in right here to where it says rock. And I'm going to pull the year back to around 2014 or 2015. Gives us kind of the best image. Let's see how good this one is. And then we're going to pull one more back just to make sure we don't have anything any better. So 2014, one of 2014 is the best image that I see here. You can see here last time we ended right here where it says rock. I'm going to keep moving on up. Just show you real quick because I did zoom into that pretty quickly. We're starting right here off of this point. So I'm going to go up here into this cove. I'll work my way back. We'll go all the way up north, and then we'll work our way back down to the south side. So next thing that we find when we come up here, really off of this point, and again, you're just seeing rock and soot and stuff like that. But there are, or not a lot of rock. There are a little bit of areas that do have some rock. So you can see a little bit of rock here, but you got a little point that comes out that has some rock off the edge of the point. So right in here could be good. There's also a little isolated rock pile right there that could have some potential as well. And then as we move up, we got another boat ramp, real big, real huge Johnson State Park boat ramp, real big parking lot. Look how huge that thing is. So really like that one. As we move a little bit further up here, got a lot of brush. This one looks like it has some really good potential. Now, I couldn't tell. I think these are birds. At first, I thought those were rocks. And then I'm like, no, those are birds because you can actually see the shadows of the birds over here. But if you look right here, we have a very large brush pile. And when I pull that up to 2018, that brush pile is actually underneath the water. So go check that one out. That one looks really good. That wasn't one of the ones that I mentioned to you about marking. That was something different, but I think it was Corps of Engineers has a bunch of different brush piles that are out here as well. We marked those, but this one is actually visible. You can see it. So it's going to be a pretty shallow brush pile, but definitely under the water. Moving on up here, you got a couple more of those piles as well. You got a nice little brush pile here and a pretty good laydown. Again, if we move that water up to 2016, that brush pile is probably you can probably see just the top of it. So I can see that having some really good potential. As I move further up here, I just noticed this as I'm sitting here talking to you guys. There could be some rock right in that area right there. So if you're over here fishing this brush pile, come off and fish a little bit out of that, a little bit outside of that point and scan right in this area and see if that little rock pile is holding any fish. A lot of times those little isolated piles are really, really good. All right, so I'm going to keep moving up here. Had a pond, but nothing that looked too significant, so I didn't mark it for you guys. But you do have a pretty decent little creek channel that comes through here. So I marked the creek channel for you guys. And then there's a pond over here that actually has a pretty good pond dam. Now, I don't know if you can get back into this or if it's too shallow or not, but if you can, fish the back sides of these pond dams, you're going to have some pretty good success. Let's go ahead and move the water up on this one again. See what it looks like. Yeah, you definitely can get back there in that pond. That's 2016. That could have been flooded. 2017 maybe give us a better image. It's still pretty much covered up. So this is going to be a pretty good area to go look at, guys. I really like the way that sets up. You got a pond dam back there. You got a creek channel. A lot of good things going for you right there in that area. And you got a real good creek channel swing right here as well. Got a couple of them. Actually got a good one here, a good one here, and you got another good one up here as well. So all really good areas back in here. And this one actually looks like it may be accessible. A lot of those other areas that we were in earlier, it was just so much timber. I don't even know if you could get back in there unless you had paths or something like that. As I move a little bit further down the bank line here, just some laydowns and things like that to check out. So I got a couple laydowns marked here, some more laydowns marked there right off that point. Did find a little bit of rock off a couple of these points. There's a little bit of rock right here. And again, these little isolated rock piles, because there's not very much rock anywhere in the area, they can be really, really good. So even though they're very small, could just be you're working like a 5 by 10 spot, something that small could hold a ton of fish. All right, so we got some rock right in here as well off of this point. And then I'm going to zoom back out. We're going to come back out of this Johnson Creek State Park cove here. There's another little rock pile right in here. Just kind of all blends in, but you can see it. Pretty good looking rock pile right in there. All right, so I'm going to pull back out just to show you where I'm at. Or I guess I don't have to just yet, but I'm going to. So about halfway up that cove. So if you're wondering where I'm at, that's where I'm at. Now, if you come off that ramp at Johnson State Park and come over here, there's a pretty good pond dam that's right here. You can see it. It's just barely visible, but you know that's going to be a really good pond dam. So get over here on this side, fish right in this area, and then get back behind it and fish back in here. I'm not saying there's not going to be fish on the front of it or on the top of it. There definitely could be. But back in the back is where we seem to have the most success. All right, so I'm going to keep moving over here. We're going to swing around to this next little pocket in here, and you'll see we got a little bit of rock back in here. It's hidden. A little bit in here, a little bit in there, but this one looks pretty good because it's got a little bit of a ledge. And when I pulled the water up, it looked pretty decent. So if I go to 2016, you're going to have that little ledge just right in here. I love spots like that. Spots like that tend to be really good because a lot of people don't even realize that they're there. I mean, that ledge, that rock ledge, which isn't very much of a ledge, maybe a foot, 2 foot, but it's just about, probably 20 feet off the bank line. So most people are going to run their boat directly over the top of the best spot to fish right in that area. All right, so back over here, got a real good little isolated rock pile over here as well. So I marked that one for you. May have some hydrilla or something going on here. I mean, it kind of looks like you got some cover, so it would be interesting to see what's back there. As we move further up here, just not a lot going on. It does have a little transition area right here. You can see it, kind of dirt to rock. So in here could have some potential. But over here, you kind of get these, again, isolated rock piles where it gets really heavy. It kind of gets heavy from basically where that rock spot is right there all the way out to about right here. And you can see there's another transition going on right in here. All right, so I'm going to keep moving down. We've got some rock off this point. You can see it right here. If I zoom in, you'll notice it's a pretty decent pile right here. And it's separated from those other ones, so it's isolated enough to where I think it could have potential. And then again, you got another pond dam in here. I can barely see it when the water's pulled way down, but you can definitely see that it's there. You can see the shadow of it. And then you've got some pretty good rock over here as well. So I think really the key when looking at this bank line and some of these other bank lines is going to be that you just need to back off a little bit. Pretend the bank line is basically where my points are as opposed to the actual bank line. So if you're out there fishing, 2017, you're probably putting your boat somewhere right in here. And the good stuff is actually just right behind your boat. And I see that a lot. I see it a lot when we're out there fishing on the local lakes and stuff like that. I'll look and see the area that they're fishing. I see a lot of people just fishing way too close to the bank. Or in Texas, it takes a while before you get to that break. And that break is really, you want to kind of treat that like your bank line. And that really jacked me up when I moved here to Texas from Missouri. I was used to fishing the bank line because the bank line's up there for the most part. You're at like 30 degree, 45 degree angles. So they're very steep bank lines, rocky, stuff like that. And so there wasn't a lot behind you other than really deep water. Whereas here, you may go out 20 foot from the bank line before you actually start to see a little bit of a break or some contours and stuff like that. And so that has been one of the biggest adjustments if you guys are coming here from the north and fishing in Texas, or if you're just a new fisherman, is that you got to pull off the bank a little bit and you got to really pay attention to your contour lines, because your contour lines, you can almost make up an imaginary bank line in your head. And even though you feel like you're almost offshore fishing, you're still only fishing in 4 or 5 foot of water. So you just got to get used to that in Texas. Once you get used to that, it will definitely change the game and it'll open your eyes to a lot of different things. All right, so I'm going to keep moving on. Sorry for the preaching lesson there, but hopefully that helps you guys out. As we move a little bit further down, did find some debris back in here. Let's go back to 2014 so you guys can see this. It's going to take a minute for the internet to catch up to me, but right here, we got some debris right here off this point. Now, I don't know what this is, if it's a big laydown or what it is, but I like that little spot right in there. You've also got a little bit of debris right here off the top of this point too. So real good little point kind of going back into the back of some of these coves. Some more rock right in this area. Let me scoot this over so you can show it to you. A little bit of pile there. Got a couple more piles right in here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 different little isolated rock piles right off of that point. So a rock pile and point, you know you're going to be in good shape. Really like how that one sets up. There's some more isolated rock out here, whereas this is starting to get into a transition somewhere. It's probably right there is your transition. But if you come up here, the rock gets a little bit more separated, I guess, and larger. So I would say this edge of this point's probably gonna be a pretty good spot. Also, make sure you're watching those transition lines, because sometimes those transition lines are money. Moving on down here, we've got laydowns. So a couple different laydowns to take a look at in that area. And then we're going to get down here and just see a little bit more rocks. There's some more rock over here off of this point. At first, I thought this might just be dried out, but I think it definitely is rock. And you've got it in a couple more spots. And you've got a pretty good ledge going on here as well. So all right in here would be really good. And I think this is probably a good spot to show you guys. And on Google Earth, you got to imagine, we're looking at it from a satellite. So that's pretty far from the bank line to where this ledge is. I mean, not really far, but far enough where the human eye, it would seem like you were pretty far off the bank. So if I'm looking at this in 2014, you're like, yeah, duh, you want to fish right in here, right? That's going to be your prime spot. But if I move that up to 2017, you're going to pull your boat up basically right where that ledge spot is. Your boat's going to be sitting on top of it or to the inside of it. So that's what I mean. If you just back off a little bit, pay attention to your contours, you're going to realize there's a whole nother lake to fish over there. And the fish are actually right here a lot as opposed to up in here. Just because it's too damn shallow up here for them. Except for on certain lakes. Now, lakes like Tawakoni, they will be up on the bank. I mean, in 2 inches of water. But anyways, I'm going to keep on moving. Got some rock over here, right off the point here. Also have some more rock over here. So if you're coming down this bank line, you'll notice there's a little point that just comes out. And then it has a nice little isolated rock pile. I love these things. I talked to you guys about it earlier. I love these little isolated rock piles. This one's going to be covered up pretty good. So when the water's up, you're a little bit offshore. Not too far offshore, but far enough offshore to where I think it could be a very productive area. If I was tournament fishing, I would go check out that rock pile. So I'm going to back up just a little bit. Starting to see a little bit of timber now. We're getting close to the main point over here. We're going to come back in here. Obviously, this would be really tough to get back into with all this timber, but there is a pretty good little creek channel that's back here you could check out, and a little roadbed too. On these roadbeds, though, they're probably just going to, the only thing to fish there is obviously going to be the depression there, but I'm not seeing a lot of old concrete or anything like that. They're basically just old dirt roads. There's a laydown over here that's kind of isolated. Everything else is standing timber, and then you get right here, and you have this really large laydown. So that could have potential if you wanted to just go crazy and go flip all these trees and stuff like that. Now, if you move back in here and you watch that bank line, you'll notice there's a little isolated rock pile behind this little bunch of timber. So if I pull in here, you'll see it, a really good hard spot right there in the middle of all those trees and everything. Now, getting back to it might be a little bit tricky, but I think, if you just came in here and swung on the inside, you could probably get back here to fish it. So I'm going to move this back to 2017 so you can see it. And so I'm thinking if you could get up this point, you could probably tuck on the inside with your trolling motor and get right here, and you position just perfect to be able to fish that rock pile. So again, that's a really good looking area, something that a lot of people are probably going to overlook, or they're going to see those trees and it's going to scare them. And you could actually get back in here and you're not even fishing the trees. The trees are actually creating a really nice line for you right across that rock pile. All right, so I'm gonna move over here. If you come over here, you're coming around that point. This point's got some potential as well. You've got an old roadbed that comes through here. So I marked that for you guys. And if you look over here off to the side of it, not only do you have a big, huge flat on the top of this point, that's basically a main lake point, but you got a rock pile here as well. If I zoom in, I'll show it to you guys. Pretty decent size too. So you got some pretty good rocks going on right in this area, all in this area, lots of debris and stuff. And again, if we bring the water up, that's going to be underwater. That's shallow diving crankbait. That's fun fishing right here in this area and over in this area. All right, so I'm going to back this up. And what do you know? We have the same type thing down here. I mean, this right here could be an all-day fishing adventure just in this off this one little point. You got the two rock piles. There were three rock piles. You got the roadbed. This rock pile looks just as good as the other one. This one's a little bit bigger. You can see it comes off this point, and it's really definitely going to be totally submerged for you guys. You can take a look at that. And you got a pond dam over here too. So you got so many good things going on right in this area. Again, I think that could be a really high potential area for you guys. If I move it up to 2016, again, you'll see that rock pile is pretty far off the bank line. 2016 might be flooded. 2017 looks a lot better. So right in there will be your rock pile, your pond dam too. You're not going to notice that unless you got it marked or you're looking for it on your Navionics. All right, so keep moving on down. Doesn't get as juicy, I'm sorry. That was probably one of the juicier spots, but we got some rock right here off of this point. That's definitely a potential main lake point. Go take a look at that one. There's a foundation up here you could fish around. That's right here around all these stick-ups and things. And then there's some debris. I don't know if this is an old house foundation or what, but you can see it right in here. It almost looks like an old foundation, something like that. And I didn't notice it, but that looks like a potential rock pile off the flat on the top of this flat too. So maybe a little bit of light rock on the top of this point. This point has potential. Don't bypass this point. Go check it out. See if fish are setting up. See if fish are feeding up on the tops of it. Things like that. You got some really good potential there. Now as we move a little bit further over here, got some really good rock back in here. So you can see here the landscape changes right here in these couple spots. Got real good transition lines. And then you got some really good rock right in here too. So that pocket has potential. You got to be careful. There's a lot of standing timber and stuff like that, but a good spot to look at. As we move over here, we're going to start seeing a lot more rocks. We got a lot of rock around the edge of this point, kind of scattered and stuff like that. But right here, you got like almost a isolated rock pile. So I went ahead and marked that one for you guys. And you got the same type thing over here. The rocks just kind of change here, and they're just different in this area. So definitely this part of the point would be more of a high percentage area. You've also got another one right in here, same type thing. And then as I move further back up, I'm going to back up real quick and show you guys where I am. I'm right here off the edge of this point. So I'm going to move up just a little bit further. I'm probably going to go up to this road right here, and we'll finish there for this video. So let's keep moving on though, and let's talk about what else we see here. We've got those rocks that we talked about. We've got some more rock that's right here off this point. And I like this one because it almost looks like it has a little ledge for you guys. So you can take a look at that. This one's got some potential too, but I like this one a little bit better. Moving on up, we got these isolated piles I was telling you about. So I've marked all of those little isolated piles that we have. You can see them all, a couple there. Real good point here you can take a look at. Again, that looks like it might have a little bit of a ledge or a drop. And you have a roadbed that's coming in here. Now this could be I think it's a roadbed. Could be a ramp, but definitely right here's got potential. I like how it cuts in. You got a nice little, almost like a little ditch that's being created there. Really like that spot. Got good high rock right in here in this area. Another isolated rock pile. So right there, I mean, if you're just looking on that bank line right in there could be a good spot. I mean, you could come over here and fish that spot I was telling you about here. And if you didn't have any luck, maybe the wind was blowing the wrong direction or whatever, you could hop over and fish this side as well. So we'll just keep moving up, see what else we see up here. Little more isolated rock, right off that point. Not all these points have rock on them, but a lot of them do. But this one's got some pretty good rock on it. Another little isolated rock pile in there. And then this pond dam's interesting. You got some debris that's up on top of it. I don't know what that is. It's hard to tell by looking at Google Earth. But just some kind of, I don't know if it's debris or stick ups or stumps or bushes or what it is, but I'm just going to call it debris or cover, whatever you want to call it there. But a real good pond dam in here. And look at how deep that pond is. That pond's got some pretty good depth to it. In fact, if you get further back in here, you've got a really good ditch that's being created too. So this pond right in here and that ditch back in there, that's probably where I would put a lot of my focus on, as long as you can get back in there and get to it. And I think you can. If I move the water up 2017, it looks like you can get back there pretty easily. All right, so I'm gonna swing around these points. Again, not all these points had rock, right? Only certain ones. Got another pond dam that's back in here too. You guys are probably like, this guy's nuts on the pond dams, but I'm telling you, pond dams can be a really good pattern sometimes. Richland Chambers is a good example of a great lake to fish pond dams. You've got a really good pond dam in here, a little bit of rock and stuff around here too, so that can make it a little bit more interesting. Moving up here, you got a lot of that dirt and stuff on the bank line. Not a lot to share with you guys here, but a couple creek channels. Check these out. I call them creek channels, ditches, whatever you want to call them, but there are definitely some changes in the elevation that can really help you guys out. Also back in here, another pond. It's got a couple of different pond dams there. What's that, 2 or 3 ponds that we just marked right there in a row? Yeah, 3 different ponds, 4 different ponds. So if you're on the pond dam pattern, really you've got 1, 2. Let's back up just a little bit. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ponds right there in a pretty good area. I mean, that's still probably a little bit of haul to go from there to over there, but definitely down the stretch, you can get some pretty good ponds. As we move further up, talked about that creek channel. I don't know, make sure I'm not losing myself. Here's the pond we just talked about, some rock. There's some rock around that pond. So if we move over here, this point comes out pretty good and has a little bit of maybe some potential rock off the side of it, but I really like this pond down right here. And if you look and you zoom in, it's got a real hard area right here on the edge. So right where I put rock at, you can see some boulders and things like that. So that'll be a good spot for you guys to check out for sure. I think I may have skipped this, so I'm going to scoot back down. When I was talking about those ponds, I don't remember covering this for you guys, so I want to zoom back in here and show you guys this real quick. We've got a roadbed that comes out. There's a little bit of debris. There are like these little concrete blocks. And then if you look here, there's an old foundation that's out here with a really good rock pile over here. And I like that. I mean, you got that big, huge flat. So good feeding grounds for them and stuff like that. And if I move it up to 2016, you'll notice that's pretty far off the bank. You're almost going to feel like you're out there fishing in the middle of the lake, but you're really not fishing in very deep water. You're fishing in pretty shallow water. But you've got some really good stuff to fish around. That pond dam we were talking about, that rock pile, those rock piles we talked about up here. So just some really good stuff. So let's move this back to 2014. Let's keep moving up the bank line. Again, up in here, we've got a really good pond dam you could fish around. Both sides look good of this one. And you got some rock in the area too. And if you get back in the back of that pond, there's some debris back here. You can see right here. I don't know, again, if those are stumps or what those are, but some kind of debris pile in there and then another little debris pile in here as well. That's a cool looking place right there. Something you wouldn't really know that was there unless you had pulled it down on Google Earth and noticed that, hey, there's a pond down there and that could have some really good juice. That one could have some really good potential. And that's right here by the Ray Roberts public boat launch. So it wouldn't take you long to get back there. You kayakers, you could launch here and get back there pretty quickly. All right, so we got a pretty good ramp here that we just talked about. We've also got some more rocks here. Again, just a little isolated rock pile. We do have some scattered rock all through here, so this could all be good. But this is more like a little isolated pile that was there. And then that takes us up to the bridge. I'm going to end us at the bridge, and we will we'll probably finish, or we will finish. Our next video will be our last video for Google Earth on Lake Ray Roberts. And what we're going to do is we're going to start on the bridge. We'll work our way up north, and then we'll swing back down south, down here to basically right in here where we'll end up finishing the video off. So hope you guys are enjoying this thing. Please hit the subscribe button for me if you haven't already. If you got some lakes you want me to break down, shoot them my way. I got a pretty good list going, but I continue to add them. Also, go out and check out our site, simplisticfishing.com. We've got all these lakes that we talked about with all the waypoints and everything for you guys ready to put on an SD card and send it out to you guys so you can put them on your graph. And I have more lakes out on the website than I actually have for YouTube videos. So make sure to go check it out. And until next time, guys, hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.